After his rebirth, Li Dong did not aspire to become the richest man or pursue a great career. He only wanted to earn some money honestly, achieve financial freedom, and marry a beautiful wife. His wish was fulfilled. Keywords of the novel. Reborn. I am not really a stock god. No pop-ups. Reborn. I am not really a stock god. Download the full text of TXT, Reborn. I am not really a stock god. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Rebirth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Rebirth. Wake up, wake up. In a daze, Li Dong felt someone pushing him. Opening my eyes, what caught my eye was a face that had been shrouded in dust for a long time in my memory. Su Meng. Li Dong's brain is a bit confused. After thinking for a while, I remembered the name of the person in front of me. What's going on? I haven't seen Su Meng for 7 or 8 years, have I? Why did he suddenly appear again? Also, aren't you drinking alone at home? How did you get here? Where is this? Li Dong carefully glanced around. A somewhat familiar office, with familiar faces one after another. Isn't this the place where I worked 10 years ago? Is this a dream? Li Dong pinched himself hard. It hurts a lot. This pain has made my brain much clearer. It's not a dream. But what exactly is going on? Is it time travel? Or was it reborn? Did you die yourself? Thinking of this, Li Dong's expression instantly froze. Sleepy and stunned. Quickly wake up, Mr. Zhao called you. Su Meng urged him again. Ah. Oh. Li Dong instinctively stood up. I looked around again. That's right, the familiar environment and people are exactly the company I worked for 10 years ago. A US stock intraday trading company. Really? Reborn. For a moment, Li Dong couldn't tell what his mood was. Anyway, it's messy. Hurry up and keep grinding, Mr. Zhao is going to get angry again. He just gave Xiaojun a scolding. Su Meng urged him again. Oh, I got it. Li Dong replied and, based on his memory, walked towards Mr. Zhao's office with wooden legs. At this moment, it should be after work in the morning, and many colleagues have not left yet, either playing games or watching movies. CS, Warcraft, Journey to the West. On the computer screen, there are familiar images. This scene is so familiar, yet so distant. Something dusty in my memory slowly emerged from the corners of my mind. Li Dong touched his pocket and indeed pulled out the old Nokia he had used before. Looking at his phone, Li Dong felt a moment of confusion again. After slowly regaining his senses, Li Dong looked at the time. May 5, 2010 at 5:32 a.m. It is indeed a time of travel. Li Dong took a long breath. This time, it should be less than half a year since I first joined the company. In my memory, it seems that Mr. Zhao did indeed look for him once. Because I have been with the company for half a year and have not yet reached the graduation level, Mr. Zhao has had a conversation with him once. The process is certainly not particularly wonderful, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to remember it for 10 years. Li Dong couldn't remember the specific details of the conversation very clearly. He only remembered that Mr. Zhao said he wasn't good at trading and asked him to leave. In the end, he begged him hard, but Mr. Zhao reluctantly kept him and gave him a month's time. If he still couldn't reach the graduation level after a month, he would let him leave. Fortunately, the next day, there was a famous Oolong Index event in the US stock market. Li Dong was relatively lucky, earning over $1,000 in one transaction, and then earning a little more that month, finally reaching the graduation level of $2,000. Afterwards, Li Dong worked in this company for 5 or 6 years, but in the end, he couldn't resist a colleague's deception and went out with that colleague to start his own business. After working for a few years, I didn't make much money and was left with bruises and bruises by my colleague who worked with me. In the days that followed, Li Dong lived aimlessly, borrowing wine every day to drown his sorrows. He drank himself into rebirth. Thinking of the bad things in his past life, Li Dong gave a bitter smile and shook his head. My past self was truly a failure. Career failure, family failure, and even more so in life, in the eyes of family and friends around me, I am a complete failure. It was probably a failure that even the heavens couldn't bear to watch, which gave him a chance to start over again. In this life, one must seize opportunities well, whether it's for wealth or love. As for the friendship and love that were wrongly paid in the previous life, this life can teach a lesson. While thinking about his worries, Li Dong arrived at Mr. Zhao's office. Knocking on the door, a crisp female voice came from inside. Please come in. It's Fong Lin's voice. Fong Lin is currently Mr. Zhao's assistant and will be the boss of the company in 2 years. However, after being proud for less than 2 years, he was intervened by a third party and stepped down in disappointment. Li Dong pushed the door into the office. Mr. Zhao was sitting behind his desk, looking at the computer with a gloomy expression on his face. Mr. Zhao's name is Zhao Tao. Speaking of age, he is not very old, only 2 years older than Li Dong. He is 25.6 years old, worth millions, and can be considered young and promising. He looks a bit shabby, less than 1.7 meters tall, weighing 150 or 60 pounds, with a bumpy face and a big mouth that grins to the ear, to the point where colleagues in the company call him a toad from behind. Standing next to him, Fong Lin, who was 1.7 meters tall, was truly a beautiful woman. After Li Dong's rebirth, his nature is no longer as immature as 10 years ago. 10 years ago, Li Dongjin came to see Mr. Zhao, feeling nervous, uneasy, and even somewhat fearful. And this time, Li Dong was very calm. Mr. Zhao, are you looking for me? As soon as he entered, Li Dong spoke calmly and without hesitation. Zhao Tao didn't even lift his eyelids and snorted coldly, saying, Li Dong, why did you compensate again last night? Li Dong can't quite remember how much he paid last night, and when he first arrived, he didn't even look at the computer. In my impression, it was indeed a loss, not only last night, but also the night before yesterday and the night before yesterday, for 3 consecutive days. At that time, his temperament was not calm enough, and he was a bit restless. If he lost a penny, it would easily affect his mood, and then he became impatient, resulting in more and more losses. Often, it takes several consecutive days of compensation, and only when the mood gradually improves can one start making money. In his past life, the reason why he didn't graduate for 6 months was not because his level was not good, but mainly because of his mentality. A few strokes were not done very well. Li Dong calmly replied. When will you do it well? Fong Lin sneered beside her. Li Dong frowned. Whether he is doing well or not, it's not up to Fong Lin, a little assistant, to talk nonsense. Besides, he just hasn't reached the graduation level yet. After coming to the company for half a year, he actually earns money every month, and hasn't lost a month to the company yet. Zhao Tao hasn't spoken yet, she started choking. To put it simply, Fong Lin is now relying on the favor of General Zhao, and has not yet ascended to power. She has started to consider herself the boss's wife. Don't be complacent now, sooner or later you will cry. Li Dong was too lazy to pay attention to Fong Lin and silently looked at Zhao Tao. He wants to see what Zhao Tao says. If he still says something unpleasant like in his previous life, he will leave immediately. If Zhao Tao's attitude can be better, he can still stay in the company for a period of time. After all, he is penniless now, and there are many practical problems that need to be solved when he goes out and starts his own business. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. The first money-making opportunity after rebirth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The first money-making opportunity after rebirth. Li Dong has just been reborn, and many issues have not been carefully considered yet. Speaking of the matter of establishing a self-owned business, although Li Dong had an experience in his past life and was familiar with the various processes of opening an account in the US stock market, there is a very practical problem. Opening an account requires money. He is currently penniless. Moreover, he currently cannot produce impressive trading records. Opening an intraday account in the US stock market requires providing trading records. If there is no trading record or the trading record is too poor, the trader will not open it at all. So, it's best to work here for a while first. It's not too late to consider setting up your own business once you have a certain amount of initial funding. Of course, if Xiao Tao's attitude remains the same as last time, constantly attacking and insulting, then he doesn't need to stay here. As a professional trader, Li Dong is well versed in the trends of various domestic and foreign markets and varieties over the past decade. He is aware of some wealth creation opportunities such as stocks, gold, crude oil, futures, foreign exchange, real estate, and so on. These opportunities, as long as he can seize one of them, are enough to enable him to achieve financial freedom. So, he doesn't need to suffer here. Perhaps Li Dong's calm and composed demeanor at this moment was better than the nervousness and unease of the previous life, so Xiao Tao did not come up and curse like in the previous life. Many times it's like this: the more nervous you are, the more the other person yells and scolds. The more calm and composed the other person is, the more they will instinctively restrain themselves. I only worked for 3 days this month, and you paid for 3 days. On the first day, I paid for over 200, on the second day, I paid for almost 100, and today I paid for over 100, and on the third day, I paid for almost 500. Do you still have any hope of graduating this month? Lu Xuehai came to the same company as you, and they graduated in 2 months. You're lucky, you've been working for half a year and haven't graduated yet. When do you plan to graduate? Can you still graduate? Xiao Tao's tone is still a bit irritable. But compared to my previous life, it's much better now. Fong Lin sneered again next to her and looked disdainfully at Li Dong. Fong Lin's snobbery is well known in the company. For those traders who do well, Fong Lin always smiles at them, while for those traders who don't make much money, Fong Lin has never had a good face. Li Dong, who was well aware of her character, didn't bother to pay attention to her and only said to Xiao Tao, "Mr. Zhao, I've been in the company for half a year and haven't graduated yet. I'm also quite anxious myself. I've also considered it. If I can't finish this month, then I'll give up." Xiao Tao glanced at him and said, "Okay, then I'll give you another month. If you can't finish your studies this month, it can only prove that you're not good at trading. It's better to switch careers as soon as possible. After speaking, wave your hand at him." Li Dong sneered in his heart and turned around to leave. As soon as he walked out of the office, he heard Fong Lin's unhappy voice coming from inside. "Mr. Zhao, why are you giving him another month? You can just drive him away." What Xiao Tao said, Li Dong didn't hear it clearly, nor was he interested in listening. "Are you okay? What did Lao Zhao say?" Returning to his seat, Su Meng next to him noticed that his expression was not too good, so he leaned over and asked a question. Li Dong shook his head and casually said, "I didn't say anything, just let me be careful in the future." Su Meng comforted beside him and said, "Oh no, it's okay. The draw from last night was too sudden, and anyone who encountered it will have to pay for it. Just be careful in the future, don't take it too seriously. Play a few games." Li Dong knows that Su Meng is referring to playing 2CS, but he doesn't have the heart to play games now. Shaking his head, he said, "I won't play anymore, you guys can play." Su Meng didn't let him continue playing with others anymore. Li Dong sat in his seat, closed his eyes, and carefully combed his thoughts. The chaotic life in my past life is really not worth lingering on. His wife divorced him a long time ago, and they both have no children. Being able to start over from scratch is definitely something he hopes for. The most important thing for him now is to plan his future well. To be precise, it is the next decade. First, I went through several opportunities for wealth creation within the next decade in my mind. Chinese antis buying gold seems to have started in this year. The rise of gold lasted from early 2009 until the end of 2011. The highest price has risen to over 390 yuan per gram. The current price of gold, if I remember correctly, should be around 250 yuan. Li Dong specifically searched online again and found that it was indeed over 250 points, with a profit margin of 1,340 yuan from the highest point. It's quite impressive. Unfortunately, I don't have any money at the moment, so I can only wait to invest in the US stock market for a month and earn some money before buying gold. Besides gold, there are also some good opportunities in the domestic stock market. Li Dongquan remembers the top 10 bull stocks of the past decade. Kongtai Biology, Lishuan Precision, Muyuan Shares, Tonghua Shun, AVIC Capital, Hikvision, Kuaichao Mutai, Tongsa Medical, Funda Special Steel, Pioneer Intelligence, etc. When they have some money in hand, they will all be bought and held, which will at least increase by 30 to 50 times in 10 years. In addition, investing in real estate is also a good choice. It's just that the real estate speculation is a bit in conflict with the policies above. Whether or not to speculate or not, at most it's just buying a few houses and keeping them for oneself to live in. Of course, whether it's gold, stocks, or houses, all of these prerequisites require money. And this first bucket of gold can only be earned from the US stock market. Li Dong carefully thought about some big money-making opportunities on the US stock market. It's been a bit too long, and he can't quite remember the intraday trends of many stocks. Perhaps when he's waiting to do trading, he can recall the impressive stock trends he has done before. However, Li Dong vividly remembers the Oolong Index incident in the US stock market tomorrow. It's really because the Oolong Finger incident was so famous, it's rare to see it for decades. So, seize this opportunity tomorrow no matter what. This is his first opportunity to make big money after being reborn. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. A Serious Problem. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. A serious problem. On May 6, 2010, the US stock market experienced a historically significant Oolong Index event. A foreign trader placed the wrong order and directly hit the market down by 9 percentage points. Many stocks were also affected by the overall market and fell to 0 yuan at one point. Afterwards, the market sharply rose again. In just a few minutes, there was a big V-shaped reversal. In his previous life, Li Dong made a fortune and earned over $1,000 in one transaction. Unfortunately, Li Dong's number of moves that time was too small. Otherwise, earning tens of thousands of dollars in one transaction would be effortless. So, this time, Li Dong will definitely not miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Li Dongma pondered for a moment. However, there were too many events that happened in the next decade, and he couldn't recall them all at once. I can only go back and think slowly, and then plan slowly. Since heaven favors him and gives him a chance to start over, we must seize it well. Li Dong looked at the transaction he made last night again. In total, we lost over $150, of which CNG lost over 200. I looked at the line chart and saw that the ticket was going downwards at that time, slowly dropping from 55 yuan to 53 yuan. I was an empty order hanging at 58 yuan without any transactions, so I ignored it and kept hanging there. Suddenly, the ticket was drawn from 53 yuan to 59 yuan. I have drawn in all the empty orders, I hum myself. Afterwards, this ticket rose all the way to 12 yuan. Fortunately, he stopped the loss in a timely manner, and the first time he drew in, he stopped the loss, only losing more than 200 yuan. Otherwise, he would have lost a few $1,000s this time. Li Dong has a deep impression of this transaction and remembers it many years later. It's not that this loss was too high, but CNG's ticket rose from over 5 yuan to 12 yuan in just 1 hour. For Li Dong, who has just been exposed to the US stock market, this increase is simply unbelievable. It was from this ticket that Li Dong truly witnessed the stock market riots in the United States. Then the next day, I witnessed a historic riot. Apart from this ticket, there is nothing to say about the other 20 or 30 tickets made. Those who earn more earn 20 or 30 yuan, while those who earn less earn 1 or 2 yuan. The few tickets that lose money also don't pay much, the 10 or 8 yuan ones. He is still doing brushing orders, and his authority is not too large. He can only use the price difference on the market to brush back and forth, and earn money by frequently entering and exiting. When there is more, one can earn $100 or $200 a night, and when there is less, one can earn only a few tens. Occasionally, a few more days of compensation, and in a month, one can only make a profit of $1,000 or $800, which is still a little short of the graduation line of $2,000. This is also the limitation of brushing orders. To earn more money, one can only rely on increasing permissions. And Zhao Tao also imposed strict restrictions on permission cards. For traders who have not graduated, they can only be granted permission of up to $200,000, and no more points will be given. With Li Dong's level at the time, if it weren't for a bit of luck, he would not have easily graduated if he had made more than 1,000 in that oolong finger incident. However, the reborn Li Dong is obviously different. He is an old trader with 10 years of trading experience. Although not at the top level, he is also a well-known god-level trader in the intraday trading circle. In his past life, he could at least make a profit of $10,000 or $20,000 per month. Moreover, during the past decade, intraday trading in the US stock market has become increasingly difficult, with various restrictions and regulations increasing year by year, and stricter requirements. Handling fees, software fees, and channel fees are also increasing. They had already sighed at the beginning, saying that the US stock market is becoming increasingly difficult to do now, and it is still easier to do it 10 years ago. There are not so many violations and restrictions, and electronic programs are also very simple. If we could go back 10 years ago, we would definitely sell. It is not an exaggeration to say that the decade from 2005 to 2015 was the golden time for domestic US stocks. Now, Li Dong has returned to the golden decade of the US stock market with 10 years of trading experience. Brushing dark disks, scrolling electronic spreadsheets, doing XP. Li Dong silently went through these methods of making money from 10 years ago in his mind. Everyone is eager to start trading. There are so many ways to make money, but the company only knows how to brush orders. Li Dong let out a deep sigh. Zhao Tao's level is limited, and he is also a bit lacking in ambition. In the past 2 years, brushing orders has been okay, with stable income and little risk. Zhao Tao has made a lot of money and doesn't want to learn other methods. But in a few years, especially when the restrictions on placing orders come out, the practice of brushing orders will immediately become ineffective. One important reason why he finally agreed to follow that colleague out and start his own business in his previous life was that the company was already showing signs of decline. Until the end, Zhao Tao remained persistent in brushing orders and refused to be flexible. In the end, the company still couldn't survive and turned to domestic private equity. After less than 2 years of work, Zhao Tao suffered a disastrous loss and was sued by investors. Zhao Tao's fate was also quite tragic. These are all things from the previous life. In this life, no matter what the company does, starting from tonight, Li Dong is preparing to flash drive and electronic documents. He won't just do brushing orders honestly anymore. Perhaps it was because he had just been reborn, combined with his own self in this life, and had made another knight's plate last night. At this moment, both physically and mentally, Li Dong was a bit tired. Li Dong used to play games with Su Meng and the others at the company until 8 or 9 o'clock before returning home. Before 7 o'clock today, Li Dong packed his things and prepared to go home. Leaving so early. Su Meng was playing a game when he saw that he was leaving and asked in some surprise. "Well, I'm a bit tired. I'll go home early and go to bed," Li Dong replied casually. "Are you feeling bad about losing money?" Lu Xuehai, sitting on the other side of Su Meng, suddenly said. Although he had a smile on his face, his tone was somewhat contemptuous. Li Dong glanced at him, smiled slightly, and didn't say anything. The two of them came to the same company in the same batch, but Lu Xuehai did better than him. He graduated in 2 months and now has much more authority than Li Dong. He makes a profit of 200 to 300 yuan every day, and occasionally earns 500 to 600 yuan, which can be considered that the company is doing relatively well. Both Xiao Tao and Fang Lin regard Lu Xuehai as a pillar of the company's talent. As for Li Dong, Fang Lin was eager to drive him away quickly. "Isn't that nonsense? You earn hundreds, we compensate hundreds, and we have to be nagged by Mr. Zhao. It's strange if you're in a good mood," sighed Zhang Xiaojun from across the street. He was also scolded by Xiao Tao today and his mood was not very beautiful. Lu Xuehai had a proud smile on his lips. Su Meng said, "Brother Hai is still amazing. He spends 200 to 300 every day. If you don't accept him, it won't work." Another colleague named Huang Yunzhao followed suit and said, "Can we compare ourselves to Hai Gu? He graduated in 2 months, and I haven't seen any hope of graduation yet." In the flattery, there was a hint of sourness, but the thought of Li Dong, who hadn't graduated in half a year, made me feel more balanced. And Lu Xuehai humbly said a few words with pride. Li Dong was too lazy to stay any longer and left the company alone. These colleagues in the company, in the eyes of Li Dong at this time, are all a bit naive, even childish. He certainly wouldn't have the same opinion as these people. Compared to being tricked by friends or being deceived by loved ones in his past life, it is already difficult for him to have emotional fluctuations due to these small verbal matters. Leaving the company gate and walking onto a familiar yet slightly unfamiliar street, Li Dong suddenly realized a serious problem. Where he lives. In recent years, he has changed several places of residence, basically every year. So much so that 10 years have passed, he can't remember where he lives now for a while. Standing on the roadside, after thinking for a long time, I vaguely remembered that I seemed to live on the other side of the apricot garden. I really don't remember which building, which units, and which floor it is. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Shared Rental Girls. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Shared Rental Girls. After his rebirth, Li Dong's memories from his past life completely covered the memories of this life. So much so that he couldn't even remember where he lived. While walking towards the apricot garden with vague memories, racking my brains to recall. If I remember correctly, it seems that he has been sharing a room with 2 girls during this period. He moved out just because the shared lease didn't last long. Plus, he has a day and night reversed schedule, and he hasn't met those 2 girls a few times in total. There is no contact information. I can't even make a phone call to ask. We can only go back and take a look first. Perhaps, revisiting the old place, experiencing the scenery, and recalling where to live. Thinking about his worries all the way, he soon arrived at the apricot garden. This is an old residential area with cheap rent and close proximity to the company, which is why he came here to rent a house. Before arriving at the community, Li Dong carefully scrutinized the familiar yet distant scene around him, feeling like a dream. I couldn't help but feel a sigh in my heart. A steamed bun shop across from the community reminded Li Dong of it. During his stay here, he almost came back from work every morning and bought a few buns here. Although this steamed bun shop looks quite simple, the steamed buns it makes are very delicious. The landlady is a woman in her 60s, a local resident who has been selling steamed buns for 20 or 30 years. Conscientious in material selection and affordable in price, Zhang Danyang's steamed bun shop is well known far and wide. So much so that many years later, Li Dong still misses the baozi here. Later on, he came here once and wanted to buy some more steamed buns to try. Unfortunately, the place had already been demolished. When he asked nearby residents, they all said that Aunt Zhang was old and had gone to her son's house in Beijing a few years ago to retire. At that time, Li Dong was still very regretful. Unexpectedly, I was reborn again. Li Dong went straight to the baozi shop. On the roadside in front of the door, there were several small tables arranged in a row, and many old customers were having breakfast here. A few buns, a bowl of porridge, good quality and affordable. "Auntie, give me 2 fresh meat buns with scallions and a bowl of porridge." Li Dong hardly thought much and ordered breakfast, just like 10 years ago. "Xiaodong came back quite early today, didn't he?" Aunt Zhang deftly served Li Dong steamed buns and porridge while exchanging pleasantries. Li Dongping usually didn't come back until 8 or 9 o'clock, but today he came back more than an hour earlier. Because she often comes, Aunt Zhang also knows some of his situation. "Well, I'm a bit tired today, so I came back early," Li Dong replied casually. "Your job is quite hard, working night shifts every day. You should pay more attention to rest in daily life. Don't think you are young and can withstand it. No matter how strong your body is, it can't withstand being wasted." Aunt Zhang expressed concern and handed him the steamed bun porridge. "I know, thank you, Auntie. By the way, how much is it?" Li Dong politely replied. "It's been 10 years now, and I can't recall the price of this steamed bun for a while. I remember it was very cheap anyway. You see, I just said you need to pay attention to rest. This young person has such a poor memory. He comes to my place to eat every day and even forgets how much it costs." "Forget it, this meal will be considered as a treat for you," said Aunt Zhang. Li Dong quickly said, "I've been cooking all night and my mind is a bit confused." Hee. "How could I eat your steamed buns for free? It's not easy for you to get up early and get up late." Speaking, he took out 5 yuan and placed it on the table. "I can't remember exactly how much it costs, I only remember 2 or 3 yuan. I can't use so much. Steamed buns cost 8 cents, porridge costs 2 cents, a total of 1 yuan and 8 cents. Aunt Zhang chuckled and said, quickly finding 0 for Li Dong. 8 cents a bun, 2 cents a bowl of porridge, I remember. It is indeed very cheap. In the next 10 years, such a big meat bun will cost at least 3 yuan per piece, at the price of a roadside stall." Li Dong found a vacant seat and couldn't wait to bite into the bun. It is indeed the taste in memory, fragrant. After finishing breakfast in 3 bites, Li Dong left satisfied. Entering the community and looking at the slightly old buildings in front of him, Li Dong couldn't recall which building he lived in for a moment, only remembering that it seemed like a rooftop apartment. After strolling around, I managed to target 2 of the buildings, but I can't remember which one and which unit it is. Just as I was about to call the landlord and ask, I suddenly saw 2 young girls dressed fashionably walking out of the nearby building. It seems to be the 2 girls he shares with. Just not sure. Li Dong stood still, quietly watching the 2 girls walk towards him, carefully searching for the blurry fragments in his memory. The 2 women were chatting and laughing, and it wasn't until they approached that they noticed Li Dong. "Oh, it startled me," one of the girls said slightly dissatisfied. "Li Dong. After work." The other woman hesitated and politely greeted her. Li Dong smiled slightly and said, "Are you going to work?" The woman who scared her ignored Li Dong and pulled the other woman away, saying, "Hurry up, Xuehai, you're going to be late." Another person named Xuehai politely smiled and said, "Let's go, goodbye." Li Dong nodded and said goodbye. Now it can be confirmed that these 2 women are the ones he shares with. He remembered that one of them was indeed named Xuehai, seemingly surnamed Wang, and the other seemed to be named Nana. He forgot his surname. After the 2 women left, Li Dong also entered the unit where the two women had just left. Step by step up the stairs, the dusty memories are gradually awakened. It is indeed the old corridor in my memory. This building has only 5 floors in total, and he lives on the top floor. Arriving at the 5th floor, take out the key and open the door. Everything is so familiar. The narrow entrance has a bathroom on the left and a kitchen on the right. Inside is the living room, which only has an old sofa, an old coffee table, and an old TV cabinet. Although it's a bit crude, it's clean and tidy. All of this is thanks to that Xuehai. The house is apartment 2, with 2 rooms in the south and 1 in the north. Li Dong lives in the north room and 2 women live in the south room. I pushed the door and entered my room. The room is very small, with only 1 bed and a small bedside table. The bed sheets and bedding were uniformly distributed by Li Dong when he went to college. It has been used for several years, especially the bed sheets, which have turned white after washing. Li Dong gently sat down on the edge of the bed. Looking at this small room in my memory, I had a lot of thoughts for a moment. After a while of confusion, Li Dong finally picked up a notebook from the top cabinet. Above are some of his trading experiences, as well as some of his frequently traded stocks that he has collected and organized. Li Dongzai carefully flipped through it, and many dusty memories also emerged again. After reading it, Li Dong regained his senses and picked up his pen. He flipped over to the latest page of his notebook and began recording some major events in the next decade. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Dongge wants to have a big fight. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Dongge wants to have a big fight. While the memories of the past life are still relatively clear, quickly take note of these important things in advance. Of course, Li Dong cannot write too straightforwardly. For example, what happened in which year and month. If written like this, in case someone else sees this notebook, it may cause some unnecessary trouble. In his previous life, Li Dong had read a Rebirth online novel where the protagonist used a password to record events for the next few years. Li Dong doesn't need to be so troublesome, he just wrote a few numbers representing time and date, as well as a few keywords. For example, Alibaba went public on September 19, 2014, with an issue price of $68. The opening price on the first day was over 92 yuan, and the closing price was close to 94 yuan. The highest point in the trading day was as fast as 100 yuan, and the lowest point was below 90 yuan. Before its rebirth, the stock price was around 240 yuan. Li Dong wrote BA91914.68.240 and then drew a candlestick, writing the 4 prices on the first day on top of the candlestick. If written in this way, even if this notebook is seen by others, most people will not doubt anything. He had already written a lot about stocks in his notebook. Throughout the morning, Li Dongqiang endured his drowsiness and, taking advantage of his clear memory, recorded some important things that he could recall in this special way. Of course, he couldn't recall many things all at once, and even he didn't remember the specific time of many things very clearly. But it's okay, as long as you can have a rough idea, it will be very helpful for him in this lifetime. After finishing his notes, Li Dong finally placed the notebook under the mattress, which was both precious and heavy. This is actually not very safe. When I come back, I will buy a USB flash drive specifically and record all these things on it. The laptop still needs to be destroyed. After finishing these tasks, Li Dong couldn't hold on anymore and fell asleep. Sleep until it gets dark. After waking up, Li Dong opened his eyes and looked at the ceiling of the room, feeling lost for a while before realizing that he had actually been reborn. With a sigh, Li Dong set aside his mixed emotions and got up to go to the bathroom to freshen up for a while. After 10 years of trading career, Li Dong's mind has actually been tempered very tenaciously. In the previous life, he suffered multiple setbacks. First, his old mother was seriously ill. When he went to the hospital to take care of her, his wife colluded with friends and took all the money from the company and family. The house was sold behind his back. During that period, he not only had to take care of his old mother, but also had to deal with the employees who came to collect salaries, and he had to deal with the police and court staff who came to investigate again and again. Even so, he still didn't give up easily, but tried everything possible to get through the difficulties. Only in the quiet of the night will he feel frustrated and drown his sorrows with alcohol. Rebirth may be difficult for others to accept or adapt to, but for Li Dong, there is nothing in this world that he cannot accept anymore. Besides, rebirth is already a good thing for him that cannot be better. It's already past 7 p.m. by now, and the two girls who shared the apartment haven't returned yet. Those two girls seem to come back very late every day. I don't know what kind of job it is. Li Dong is not interested in knowing either. After washing up, Li Dong simply cooked a bowl of instant noodles and ate it. Before 8 o'clock, he arrived at the company. It's summertime now, and the U.S. stock market opens at 9:30 p.m. and closes at 4 a.m. At the moment, there are not many people in the company. Li Dong opened his computer and logged into the ticketing website, searching for some stocks with moderate prices and suitable trading volumes. What they are doing now are all fake tickets, most of which are small tickets for less than 1 yuan. These tickets are suitable for brushing orders, but not very suitable for brushing dark and electronic orders, so we need to find a new batch of suitable stocks. Find hundreds of stocks that are suitable for the conditions, and Li Dong opens the US stock trading software again. I forgot my account name and password. Fortunately, he has always had the habit of recording his account name and password. If he remembers correctly, it should be recorded in his work folder. Li Dong searched and indeed found the account name and password. Log in and input the stocks you just searched for one by one into the stock list. After losing, Li Dong roughly looked at the trend chart of each stock again. Dark trading and electronic trading are difficult to distinguish from graphics, and can only be searched for from the trading records after the opening of the market. At this moment, he is mainly looking for several stocks with similar prices and quantities in advance, preparing for the evening wave of the Wulong Index market. If I remember correctly, the oolong time in the evening was close to the closing, almost 3 o'clock. At that time, many votes were initially plummeting and then quickly rising again. The entire process took only about 10 minutes, very fast. In the previous life, many people in the company were confused and didn't react, and they missed that once-in-a lifetime opportunity. Including himself, he also tried to take a bottom after a sharp drop and pulled back, only making 5 moves and earning over $1,000. This time, he must seize this opportunity well. Advance a batch of short orders, then place an exit order at the bottom. After the price drops, the short orders are sold out, and then the backhand enters the long orders. Maximize profits. One by one, others from the company also came. Oh, I came quite early today. After Su Meng arrived, he was slightly surprised and said something to Li Dong. There is no clear requirement for working hours in the company, as long as you arrive before the opening time. Li Dong used to arrive at the company around 9:20, while Su Meng was earlier than him and arrived before 9 o'clock. He took advantage of the time before the opening to play a few more games. Li Dong smiled slightly and said perfunctorily, I woke up early today. Dongge seems to be preparing for a big fight tonight, Lu Xuehai joked on the other side. Lu Xuehai also came quite early, but he didn't come to play games like Su Meng. Instead, he looked at pre-market information and searched for stocks. Today, I also saw that Li Dong came earlier than him and was also looking for stocks. Surprisingly, Lu Xuehai felt a bit disdainful. In his opinion, Li Dong was scolded by Zhao Tao this morning because he had been losing money for 3 consecutive days, which was a bit like 3 minutes of passion. At this moment, Fong Lin happened to pass by and, upon hearing this, interjected, Don't you do a good job? Mr. Zhao has given an ultimatum. If Li Dong doesn't graduate this month, he should pack up and leave early. After speaking, he ignored Li Dong and left straight away. Su Meng, Zhang Xiaojun, and others looked at Li Dong with some surprise. Is what Fang Lin said true? Mr. Zhao. Did he really say that? Su Meng asked Li Dong with concern. Just giving Li Dong 1 month's time and leaving if he can't finish his studies is not a clear indication of wanting to drive Li Dong away. Su Meng and his team don't think that within a month, Li Dong can reach the graduation level. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Brushing Dark Disc. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Brushing Dark Disc. A monthly profit of $2,000 is required to graduate. For the vast majority of new U.S. stock day traders, the difficulty is still significant. There are only 212 trading days in a month, and you need to make a profit of at least 100 yuan per day. You also need to ensure that there are not many days of losing money this month. And Li Dong has been losing for 3 days this month, losing nearly $500, and there are still 18 trading days left this month. That is to say, in the next 18 trading days, Li Dong will earn at least $140 per day. In the eyes of Su Meng and his team, it would be extremely difficult for Li Dong to graduate this month. Zhao Tao made it clear that he was going to drive Li Dong away. Su Meng, Zhang Xiaojun, and Huang Yunzhao, who also haven't graduated, couldn't help but feel a hint of rabbit death and fox sorrow in their hearts. They came later than Li Dong, but they haven't graduated for 3 to 4 months, 4 to 5 months. Li Dong has not graduated for half a year and is about to be driven away by Zhao Tao. Perhaps next, it will be their turn. Zhao is a bit excessive. Although we haven't graduated yet, at least we haven't compensated him, Su Meng said. Actually, it's not Mr. Zhao's fault. It's all that Fang Lin instigated behind the scenes, Zhang Xiaojun said with resentment. There's no place to stay here, there's a place to stay. Yunqing is not just a U.S. stock company like Mighty. If it's okay, Dongge, let's go somewhere else. Huang Yunzhao came over to comfort Li Dong, while also comforting himself. Maybe Dongge's luck will explode and he will become a regular this month. Don't underestimate Dongge, Lu Xuehai said with a smile. This sounds a bit sinister. Haigu is right. Maybe I had some bad luck this month, earning him tens of thousands or even tens of thousands in one transaction, Li Dong replied with a smile. Everyone else thought Li Dong was joking. Although intraday trading also has a certain element of luck, there is ultimately a limit to it. Occasionally, it is possible to make a fortune of 180, or even 300 and 500, with good luck. However, in such situations, it is good to encounter them once every few months, and most of the time, it is still bad luck, with a loss of several hundred. It's a bit unrealistic to rely on dog poop luck to become a regular. But Li Dong said so, and it was difficult for others to say anything. They all followed suit and said a few good words. Speaking hard, the U.S. stock market has opened. Everyone is focused on starting the market. In the office, there was a crackling sound of typing on the keyboard. Brushing orders is actually more about individual efforts. Hundreds of frequently traded stocks, constantly switching, looking at graphic trends, trading volume, and then looking at market orders, determine the upper and lower support and resistance levels of this stock, then casually place 2 orders and continue to switch to the next stock. Wait until the placement order for a certain stock is completed, then drag it over to place the exit order, and continue switching to the next stock. Busy all night like this. There is almost no need for technical analysis or basic analysis like that. Not even looking at those indicators. I don't have time to see it either. I kept cutting tickets and placing orders all night. Trading within the day may sound high-end to outsiders, but earning it is just hard money. There is no technical content at all. Of course, this is mainly for the practice of brushing orders. Later on, when Li Dong and his team started small businesses, they still paid great attention to technical content. Li Dong is not in a hurry to enter at this moment, but slowly switching stocks, searching for traces of dark trading in electronic trading. Brushing dark disks and electronic orders requires a bit of technical expertise compared to simply brushing the price difference. First, you need to identify those with dark spots or electronic trading from hundreds of stocks, then understand the patterns, and finally start the big money-making game. So, for those who usually flash drive and electronic orders, they don't make much money in the first half of the night, and their main job is to find tickets and patterns. Making money usually takes place in the second half of the night. Of course, occasionally some dark and electronic tickets may persist for several days, and such tickets can be swiped from the opening for several consecutive days. But such tickets are rare, and the vast majority of dark disks and electronic bills will only exist for one day, or even less than a day, and disappear after a few hours of scanning. Simply put, dark trading and electronic trading refer to the entry and exit orders of large institutions and major shareholders. Take advantage of their entry and exit, find the pattern, brush vigorously, and make some money to complete the task. However, the patterns of these dark disks and electronic bills are not so easy to find. It's just about constantly trying out orders, and even making a few small moves in order to finally find the pattern. And most of the time, this kind of trial order operation is a loss. Li Dong slowly searched for the dark disk and electronic bill. If you notice any signs of dark spots or electronic orders, start trying the orders and try to find patterns. I tried 7 or 8 times in a row, but couldn't find any patterns. Either these dark disks or electronic orders are not placed by large institutions, or they are quickly sold out by large institutions with few hands. This situation is very common. It has been over an hour since the opening, almost 11 o'clock. After trying dozens of times, Li Dong finally found a somewhat regular dark market. That ticket is OGN, a ticket for around 5 yuan. The buyer has an uncertain quantity of dark spots, always following the first price of the buying spot. When the buying spot price goes down, this dark spot will also be removed. After trying out the pattern of the dark market, Li Dong began to sell and push down the price of OGN stock. There are not many orders on this market, with only a few dozen more orders and a few fewer orders in a price range, and the trading volume is not large. Li Dong's funding authority is $200,000, and the entry authority for a single transaction is $100. The current price of OGN is 5.34 to 5.35. There are only a few orders on 5.34, over 20 orders on 5.35, and not many orders on 5.36 and 5.37. It wasn't until 5.40 that there were still around 50 orders. Li Dong first placed a 100-hand sell order on 5.40, and then placed a 50-hand sell order on 5.35. Along the way, he faced the channel and ate up a few buy orders on 5.34. The stock price fell 1 penny along the trend. Without waiting for Li Dong to put more pressure on the order, someone put in a few selling orders on 5.34. After a pause for less than half a minute, the purchase order on 5.33 was also eaten by someone, and the stock price took advantage of the trend and fell another point. It will be 5.30 soon. More than 20 hands paid the bill on May 30th. These more than 20 buying orders still have some support, and the stock price has been entangled around 5.31 and 5.32 for a while. During this process, Li Dong remained on top of the 2 large orders and never withdrew. With these 2 large orders pressing on top, bulls have concerns, while bears have confidence. After a period of sideways trading, Li Dong saw the momentum of the market becoming weaker and weaker. He directly placed another 50 orders on 5.32. Those over 20 hands who paid the bill on May 30th were immediately eaten by someone. The stock price has fallen again. So, with his limited authority, Li Dong slowly pushed the stock price down to 5.05, end of this chapter. Chapter 7. Lu Xuehai's Careful Thoughts. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 7 Lu Xuehai's careful thoughts on 5.05. There are also buying orders for 5 yuan in total, but there aren't many. On 5.05, there are more than 10 orders, and on top of 5 yuan, there are 70 or 80 orders. If Li Dong continues to push down, there is still a high chance that he will push down the stock price. However, after being suppressed, it becomes difficult to handle. The OGN ticket has a relatively small fluctuation range of only 20.30 cents per day due to its low volume. Li Dong's journey has been driven down from 5.35, and he has already pushed down 30 cents. If he continues to push down, it is likely to completely crush this ticket, and even the dark market may cancel the entry due to the stock price falling below the pre-set price in the program. Even if he didn't crush this ticket, it would be much more difficult for Li Dong to push it up again later. When pressed to 5.05, this price range is about the same. Li Dong placed 4 or 5 non-low orders on 5.05. Swipe 50 hands, only one hand is displayed on the plate. For several commonly used channels, except for the one that already has more than a dozen hands to pay for, each other channel has a 50-hand display of one hand's non-low single. A total of 300 orders have been placed. This ticket has been pushed down by Li Dong from 5.35, indicating a slight decline. Even many traders have set their sights on buying orders worth 70 to 80 yuan, ready to grab a hat when the stock price drops below 5 yuan. Li Dong has long understood the psychology of small traders. After the list was placed, some people started eating his list intermittently. 1 hand, 2 hands, 3 hands, 5 hands. Either it's some stop loss, or I want to take 2 empty orders in advance and add some positions when I charge 5 yuan later. A typical approach for small traders. Li Dong also secretly sighed, in the past 2 years, because domestic intraday trading has only been popular for a few years, the practices of many domestic traders are still very simple. It's just about grabbing hats and brushing orders, and it's easy to figure out their entry and exit points. Unlike a few years later, as market competition becomes increasingly fierce, low-level traders are eliminated one after another, leaving only millennial kings and 80,000-year turtles. One by one, they become more shrewd, and it is not so easy to understand the thoughts of other traders, even institutions. Even electronic programs are becoming increasingly complex. Quickly, all the empty orders in Li Dong's hands were sold out, and he also put in dozens of extra orders. The trading on the market gradually slowed down at this time. Many people have already noticed that on 5.05, there are not only non-low but also dark spots. Someone has already taken over short orders and placed multiple orders on 5.06. That dark disk also followed up to 5.06. Upon seeing this, Li Dong removed all the orders he had placed on 5.05 and moved on to 5.06. I made more than 10 moves intermittently. I already have over 50 orders in hand. While he was doing it, Su Meng turned his head and glanced at him. What are you doing? You're paying so much. Su Meng exclaimed in surprise. Previously, Li Dong lost money on more than 10 tickets due to trying to find patterns in the order. Pay 30 to 40 yuan for the excess and 35 yuan for the shortfall. I paid almost 200 in total. This is just a few empty hands on OGN that earned a few tens of yuan, and now the more than 50 hands in hand have more than one order, and there is a floating profit of over 50. Excluding OGN, the total loss for the other tickets is over 300. They are all trial orders. However, this loss is normal and necessary for dark market practices. There is only gain when there is effort. As long as a regular dark market can be found, this loss can be easily recovered. It's just these things, Li Dong won't explain them to others. Su Meng, someone who has never done a dark game before, or even heard of playing a dark game, was naturally amazed when he saw Li Dong losing a small 200. His name also caught the attention of others. What's wrong? Dongge has paid again. Alas, I also lost money. What a terrible market. How much did Dongge lose? Others asked one after another. I've lost almost 200, Xuehai said. I wiped it and paid so much. The others were surprised. Losing 200 yuan a day is already a significant loss for their practice of brushing orders. A few people next to him stood up and came behind Li Dong, wanting to see how Li Dong had compensated so much. Xuehai also gathered around. At first glance, I really lost almost 200. Then, upon closer inspection, Ogen's ticket has already shown a surplus of over 100, with Li Dong holding over 50 orders. Ogen earned so much from this ticket. How did you earn it? Shouldn't it be empty on the top? Then, after finishing at the bottom, he made a backhand multiple orders. How dare this ticket enter so many positions? There aren't many orders below, where are we going to stop the loss? Dongge Meng, is this going to be a desperate battle? If this one goes out, it's probably going to be straight, Niu Pai. It's not easy to get out, is it? The quantity of this ticket is too small, and the order is also too thin. It looks like there is a lot of floating profit, but not being able to get out is also a waste. If it's not good, we'll have to pay a compensation. Is Dongge planning to raise the price on his own and then proceed with the sale? Isn't this the legendary Xuehai? TSK, the cow has criticized. A group of people gathered behind Li Dong, chattering incessantly. Li Dong ignored it either. Xuehai looked at OGN on Li Dong's screen, rolled his eyes, returned to his own seat, and also cut the ticket. On Ogen's market now, there is 5.07 on the left, with a total of 7 or 8 buying orders, of which 4 are still non-dominated orders placed by Li Dong. There are about 10 hands on the bottom 5.05, and 70 or 80 hands on the 5 pieces. As long as you eat all of Li Dong's orders on 5.07, and then work hard to eat the orders on the 5 yuan price, push the stock price below 5 yuan, and force Li Dong to stop losing, then Xuehai can make a lot of money with this one. Thinking of this, Xuehai was ready to take action. However, it's best not to let other colleagues know about this kind of thing and to do it secretly. After all, this kind of deceiving of one's colleagues is not very authentic. Xuehai remained silent and waited for his colleagues to make a move when they were not paying attention. Others are still surrounding Li Dong. What are you doing? We don't even do trading, why are we surrounded by Li Dong? Just as Fang Lin came out of her office, she saw a group of people gathered here and walked over with a straight face. Look at Dongge making money, someone replied. Whatever you're looking at, go back to your seat. Fang Lin scolded and then leaned in with a hint of curiosity. Everyone else didn't want to offend Fang Lin. When she scolded them, they all returned to their seats. Fang Lin came behind Li Dong to see how much money he had earned, which was worth everyone's attention. As a result, when she saw Li Dong's trading situation clearly, she immediately became furious. Li Dong. What have you done? Look for yourself, you've done more than a dozen tickets, all at a loss. Only this one earned, it's still a floating profit. Moreover, Ogen's ticket doesn't even have a single order, why are you in such a heavy position? What do you really want to do? Fang Lin angrily cursed. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Xuehai's failure to steal chicken. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Xuehai's failure to steal chicken. Mud Bodhisattva still has 3 parts of fire energy. Li Dong did a good job, but in the end, a group of people came to watch, and not to mention that Fang Lin, a fox spirit, also came to point fingers at him. Please don't interfere with my trading, Li Dong said in a low voice. What are you saying? Fang Lin was stunned for a moment. No one in the company dares to speak to her like that yet. I influenced you to make an offer. It's really interesting. Are you also called an offer? It's been less than 2 hours since the opening, and you've lost so much. Ogen is such a bad ticket, and you're still in such a heavy position. I think you sincerely want to compensate the company, right? Fong Lin became furious and shouted loudly. What's going on? What's going on? What's the noise? Zhao Tao also came out of his office and asked with a displeased expression. Mr. Zhao, you're here at the right time. Take a look at this Li Dong, what he's doing. I've already told you, this kind of person, just drive him away. You must give him a chance if the mud can't help the wall. Fong Lin said to Zhao Tao with hatred. Zhao Tao leaned over and looked at Li Dong's plate. Except for Ojian, which currently has a floating profit of nearly 200 yuan, all the other tickets have lost money, and there are still quite a few losses. Zhao Tao didn't rush to attack, but carefully looked at Ogen's ticket. Did you rely on the large order of 5 yuan to make a profit on this ticket? Zhao Tao asked. Well, this ticket has fallen all the way from 5.35, which has a bit of a bottom line meaning. I see that the upward and downward momentum of the market is also weak, and there is also a lot of buying support below, so it has entered a bit. Li Dong patiently explained. If it's not necessary, he still doesn't want to have a bad relationship with Zhao Tao. After all, Zhao Tao is an old trader. Although he is keen on brushing orders, he can still see some of the market trends of other types of stocks. Upon hearing this, he carefully examined the market trend of Ogen's ticket and said, it's not a problem to take a bottom at this position, but the problem is that you've taken too many positions. I've told you many times before, so when trading, remember not to be emotional. You can't get impatient when you lose money and always think about a correction. You said that with this ticket, you've taken so many positions all at once. If someone else gets stuck with a $5 order, where will you stop losing? Li Dong did not reveal anything about the dark side, but put on an educated attitude and humbly replied, I understand. This is indeed a bit impulsive. You know it's good. Just keep an eye on it carefully, and if there's anything wrong, quickly follow the 5 yuan stop loss. Don't hesitate, Zhao Tao instructed. Okay, Mr. Zhao, Li Dong replied. How were the other tickets compensated? Zhao Tao asked again. I was a bit impatient at the beginning of the trading, Li Dong said casually. Zhao Tao said angrily, attitude, attitude. Your biggest problem is attitude. You've been doing it for half a year, and now you haven't even adjusted your attitude. What are you eating? Li Dong silently endured without saying a word. Zhao Tao was too lazy to reprimand anymore and said, all right, keep an eye on this. If you compensate again today, you'll immediately cover up and get out of here. After speaking, he pulled Fong Lin back to his office. Fong Lin glared at Li Dong with hatred. After being nagged by them, Ogen has risen a few cents and now it has reached the price range of 5.10. Li Dong's more than 50 orders have a floating profit of more than 270, and with a few empty orders on this ticket earning 70.80, the total floating profit is more than 350. The overall situation has been straightened. However, Li Dong does not intend to play in this position. The dark side is clearly still moving up, and he finally made this many orders. It's a waste of opportunity to leave now. At this moment, Su Meng had no intention of making a plate. As soon as Zhao Tao and Fong Lin left, he leaned over to look at Li Dong's plate. I'll go, it's straight. I earned over 300 yuan in one transaction, which is impressive, Su Meng exclaimed. He has never made more than 300 yuan in a single transaction, not even more than 100 yuan. He can earn at most 3.5 yuan and 10.8 yuan from a single transaction. This ticket is not easy to issue, is it? The quantity is too small, and the order below is also too thin. If you want me to tell you, Li Dong, you can hang around 5.14 and 5.15, and you can calculate as much as you can issue. Zhang Xiaojun across from me said. Xiaojun is too small a farmer. He only earned a few dollars on May 15th, but how could he still earn over 5.30, isn't he Dongge? Lu Xuehai said. Li Dong glanced at him, smiled faintly, and said, yes, it must be at least 5.30. If I go, I really want to make it above 5.30, how much does Dongge have to earn from this? It shouldn't be over 1,000. Huang Yunzhao exclaimed in surprise. Ah, the idea is very beautiful, but I'm afraid the reality will be cruel. If we go back down, we might not even have time to stop the loss, said Zhang Xiaojun from the opposite side, shaking his head. Xiaojun crow-mouth, you can't say anything good, Lu Xuehai said, but his hand lightly pressed the enter button. No one else noticed that Lu Xuehai left a blank 5.1050 hands in total. Lu Xuehai's pen was empty for 5 yuan. Between 5 yuan and 5 yuan, there are only 20 to 30 orders in total. Lu Xuehai thought he could smash the stock price to 5 yuan with these 50 moves, forcing Li Dong to stop losing. As a result, after taking a single shot, there was no movement on May 10th. All captured on the dark side. Lu Xuehai was stunned for a moment, looking at the market with disbelief. Li Dong also noticed that a 50-hand dark market had just been traded at the opening, and gave Lu Xuehai a meaningful glance. Just now, Lu Xuehai pressed the keyboard and his surprised expression almost indicated that this stroke was done by him. Li Dong sneered in his heart. Facing the dark market, not to mention Lu Xuehai as a small trader, even their entire company combined cannot handle him. Ha! Someone did 50 moves down. Zhang Xiaojun exclaimed in surprise. No action. I wiped it, it's all done on the dark side. Huang Yunzhao also exclaimed in surprise. Is there a hidden agenda on 5.10? It should have just been pushed out, right? Su Meng followed in surprise. It must have just been pushed out. I'll go, luckily I have this hidden agenda to handle it. Otherwise, these 50 moves would have cost me 5 yuan, Zhang Xiaojun said with a hint of happiness. I guess the guy who just dropped it will cry, Huang Yunzhao said gloating. It's possible that someone else is on the stage, it's hard to say. Moreover, it's hard to say how big this dark market is and whether it will be withdrawn. Li Dong should be careful, and if it's not possible, he can also give it to the dark market. Anyway, this investment of 5.10 will also make a lot of money, said Zhang Xiaojun. Li Dong glanced at Lu Xuehai's gloomy face again and deliberately said, the dark side is out on May 10th, what else am I afraid of? It's already out on May 30th, waiting for that foolish short-selling fork to stop me. Upon hearing these words, Lu Xuehai's face became even more gloomy. He gritted his teeth, adjusted his hand 50 more, and smashed it down. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Big Claims. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Big Claims. Lu Xuehai took it from the channel this time. The dark market usually follows the clear orders, and as long as you eat all the clear orders on 5.10, the dark market is likely to be removed as well. The clear list on 5.10 only has 5 hands in total, and Lu Xuehai thought he could keep it with 50 hands. As a result, it remained motionless. The 5-handed clear orders displayed on the plate have 4 non-drawn orders. All of them are arranged by Li Dong. I wipe, is this fail? Huang Yunzhao exclaimed in surprise. This is both non-Luan dark, it's interesting, Zhang Xiaojun said. No, I have to follow in too. It feels like there will be a wave of this ticket, Su Meng said and sat back in his seat, placing several orders on 5.10 with a click. Go in too, Huang Yunzhao also said. Soon, dozens of buying orders were piled up on the market on May 10th. Li Dong glanced at Lu Xuehai and chuckled lightly. What does it mean to commit self-harm and cannot live? This is it. Unexpectedly, I still want to sneak a peek at him. I can't compensate you for it. Now on the market, the top selling plate is almost empty. Xuehai went down twice in a row, one on the dark side and the other on fail. Not only did he not bring out a wave of empty momentum, but he also made others see the strength below, and the bulls followed suit. In no time, the stock price peaked at 5.20. Xuehai was also decisive. The second time he didn't finish 5.10, he realized something was wrong, especially when Huang Yunzhao and others placed orders to follow up. Xuehai immediately stopped losing. 100 empty orders, all the way to above 5.20. I lost over 1,000. It can be said that this surge was all driven by Xuehai's hard work. Li Dong has gone crazy with joy. Oh, I have to thank the guy who just started working hard for a big help, Li Dong said happily. To Xuehai, this is like spreading salt on a wound. My face has turned iron blue. That guy is really unlucky. The first one was done on the dark side, and the second one was done off the hook. 200 trades, at least 1,000 or 800 losses, right? Huang Yunzhao said gloating. Fortunately, he stopped the loss quickly. Otherwise, the compensation would have been even greater, said Zhang Xiaojun. Brother Dong, you're really satisfied with this deal. So, my buddy helped you push up the price directly. Sigh, I haven't come in here yet, Su Meng said with regret. After speaking, he leaned over to take a look at Li Dong's plate. I'll wipe it. When did you get in your 50s again? As soon as he saw that Li Dong's multiple orders had turned into over 100 hands, Su Meng exclaimed in surprise. Hee, I put up the blame for that 5.10, and that guy's 50 hands are all on me, Li Dong deliberately said. Upon hearing these words, Xuehai was stunned. He thought that fail was set by a certain banker, so he didn't hesitate to choose a stop-loss. Unexpectedly, it was Li Dongpai. If you had known earlier that it was Li Dongpai, then what damage would he have caused? Add more warehouse and we'll just go ahead and give it to Li Dong. His authority is much greater than that of Li Dong. If he were to force himself down, Li Dong would definitely not be able to hold on. The result was good. As soon as he saw it was a loss, he felt half-hearted and stopped losing without even thinking about it. Originally, this should have earned a few thousand, but now it has lost over 1,000. Not only that, but also Li Dong made a lot of money from this. Xuehai felt that hatred in his heart. What? You put up that fail on 5.10. Huang Yunzhao exclaimed again in surprise. Isn't that right? Li Dong, are you going crazy? I thought it was a small village that did it, but after a while, you did it. Aren't you afraid of being suffocated? Zhang Xiaojun was also greatly shocked. The fox pretends to be a tiger, you see, isn't that fooling the fork? Li Dong continued to sprinkle salt on Xuehai's wound. Zhang Xiaojun shook his head and sighed, you're taking too much risk. Those who are brave to the death, those who are cowardly to the death, are absolutely right, Huang Yunzhao sighed in admiration. Don't be too happy now, he hasn't appeared yet, Xuehai said angrily. Everyone else could hear that Xuehai's tone was not quite right, but they didn't think much about it. Everyone knows a little about Xuehai's character, he is a bit cautious and cannot see others earning more than him. Now that Li Dong may make a fortune from this, Xuehai must be extremely upset. It's normal to say a few sarcastic things. No one expected that the payment just now was actually made by him. Anyway, there is a dark side on May 10th, so Dongge won't lose money at least, Huang Yunzhao said. There's a bit of an upward trend now, Li Dong. I think you might as well take advantage of this momentum and make an appearance on it, said Zhang Xiaojun. Li Dong casually agreed. But there was no appearance order placed. Brushing dark discs is not suitable for placing appearance orders. The method of brushing the dark disk is to continuously pull the dark disk upwards, and when it is almost done, it directly appears on the dark disk. If you really put an exit order on top of it, whether it's a clear order or a false order, it's not easy to get out, and it may even push down the stock price that was hard to attract. But there's no need to say these words to anyone else. At this moment, Li Dong's multiple orders have exceeded the position limit and he cannot place any more orders. Fortunately, the upward momentum on the market is not small at this moment, and with Lu Xuehai's stop loss just now, the selling price above 5.20 has been directly taken. In this short period of time, the buying price below has gradually followed up to 5.20. Li Dong made 10 appearances and used a dark channel to shoot on 5.20. Firstly, try to see if the dark market has caught up. Secondly, make a few more trades and reduce the position to below 100 trades, leaving a few trades with authority. This way, he can continue to place trades and attract more trades. At the same time as he tried the order, the seller's price of 5.25 on the market suddenly pushed out 100 hands. Li Dong frowned and glanced at Lu Xuehai. It goes without saying that out of 10, 98% of this list was created by Lu Xuehai. I just want to keep the stock price down and prevent Li Dong from making this money. This bastard is not finished yet. Li Dong cursed inwardly. What's the situation? Huang Yunzhao looked at the market with some surprise. Surprisingly, I followed up on the dark side. However, I also got 100 moves from above. Li Dong, is this your appearance ticket? Zhang Xiaojun also had some doubts. It's not mine, it's probably the silly fork that just floated down. I didn't give up after losing a penny, and I still want to lose another penny, Li Dong said coldly. If it weren't for his limited authority, he would really want to eat Lu Xuehai's 100 hands and then pay a penny higher to compensate for this ratio. Unfortunately, he can only look at Lu Xuehai's 100 hands now and sigh with admiration. It is difficult for Ogan's stock price to rise under the pressure of Lu Xuehai. It seems that his multiple orders can only be released here first. Just as Li Dong was about to put all the extra orders in his hands on the 5.20 dark plate, Huang Yunzhao suddenly said, "Why don't we just give him these 100 hands?" End of this chapter. Chapter 10. 1 Confirmation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. 1 Confirmation, what a joke. Upon hearing Huang Yunzhao's words, Lu Xuehai was first startled. That's right, doing 100 moves in this position, are you going crazy? Su Meng also said. This position is too high, and what if these 100 moves were arranged by the banker? After finishing one and then another, it wouldn't be fatal. Zhang Xiaojun also disagrees with doing so. Huang Yunzhao said, there is a dark plate below, and it seems that this dark plate is still going up. Let's take care of this 100 moves and lead the dark plate up. It doesn't need to be high, it can be brought up to 5.30, and you can also earn 180. Lu Xuehai's heart tightened and he quickly said, what if this dark side doesn't follow? Yeah, the key is, we don't know how many dark spots there are, said Zhang Xiaojun, still unwilling to take risks. Just give it a try and you'll know. Li Dong's heart twitched and he said. Yes, let's try this dark game first to see if it can keep up. Dongge, I'll put up a 5.21 and you can give it a try, Huang Yunzhao said. Li Dong had long known that this dark spot could be followed. He had tried it several times, but he still replied, okay. Speaking, Huang Yunzhao waved his hand 5.21. Li Dong then tried the dark side. Sure enough, the dark side followed up to 5.21. I'll go, really keep up. Su Meng exclaimed in surprise. Try again on 5.22. Huang Yunzhao also began to have a gleam in his eyes and put on another bill for 5.22. Li Dong tried again, and there was also a dark side. Damn it! Huang Yunzhao immediately shouted and slapped 5.25 20 times. Working too fast, Xuehai didn't even react and instinctively shouted, "Hey, don't do it." Unfortunately, it's already too late. Huang Yunzhao has already gone into it. "I'll go, are you too fast? Leave some for me, I'll do it too." Su Meng also shouted and began to adjust his position. Xuehai dared not hesitate any longer and quickly removed the remaining 80 hands. If he doesn't withdraw, he might end up being fucked by these guys. With his withdrawal, Huang Yunzhao was overjoyed and said, "Huh. Withdrawal. How about that? I said I should fuck him. So that's just a way to scare people, but unfortunately I didn't do enough." I didn't do it. "I knew I had done it earlier," Su Meng said regretfully. "You knew it earlier, where did you come from? In these days, those who are brave to the death, those who are cowardly to the death." Huang Yunzhao made 20 moves and was very happy. Xuehai is now mute eating Huanglian, unable to express his bitterness. "I hate Huang Yunzhao in my heart. These 20 moves are neither too many nor too few. There is a dark market at the bottom, and the selling market above is very empty." Xuehai dare not hesitate and quickly follows the 5.30 stop loss. This loss is a small 100. It only took a few minutes before and after, and this ticket has been lost almost 12,000. Xuehai's heart was dripping with blood, and his mentality was about to collapse. That's a stop loss. Let you do it or not, let's just watch me and Dongge make money now. Dongge, go up. Huang Yunzhao exclaimed excitedly and went up 5.25. He only earns 180 yuan a night, not as much as Li Dong. And this sum is likely to earn 1 or 200, so he can't help but not be excited. Li Dong glanced at Xuehai, who had a face of iron and blue next to him, and his heart was filled with joy. "You deserve it, top. I'll do it again." Li Dong and Huang Yunzhao, one by one, pushed the stock price up to 5.35. There were also people trying to eat in the middle, but the dark plate was like a bottomless pit. No matter how many hands were used, it remained motionless. "Alright, it's almost done. Let's go out here," Li Dong said to Huang Yunzhao, and directly put the multiple orders in his hand on the dark side of 5.35. This ticket has earned a total of over 287 yuan so far. Deducting the more than 300 losses from the opening trial order, I made a net profit of 2,500 today. Excluding the more than 400 losses made in the first 3 days, we have earned a net profit of over 2,000 so far this month. One stroke to become a regular employee. Even in his past life, Li Dong rarely made so much money. It's truly the golden decade of the US stock market. Earning this money is like holding a straw rake. Hugging one basket after another. Can we just leave here? Let's go up to the top, okay. Huang Yunzhao also earned 200 yuan from this, but he still felt a bit unsatisfied. He still wants to push himself up to 5.50 and earn 500 in one go. Okay, this dark plate will definitely not keep following and then going up again. If this dark plate doesn't follow, or even just withdraws, it will be crying. "Let's go first," Li Dong said to Huang Yunzhao. "Li Dong is right, Yunzhao, you should leave first. You can enter later when you find an opportunity." Zhang Xiaojun also said. Huang Yunzhao reluctantly released his 20-odd hands on 5.35. "Sure, Yunzhao, did you make 200 from this?" Su Meng leaned over to Huang Yunzhao and said with envy. "It's okay, it's only a fraction of Dongge's profit," Huang Yunzhao said excitedly. He made $200 in one transaction. This is his first time. "Today, I can be considered as having dumplings with Li Dong." "That's not bad, I haven't even caught a penny," Su Meng said. "Who told you not to enter?" "If only you listened to me and took all those 100 hands," said Huang Yunzhao. "Oh, don't mention it," Su Meng said with regret. "How much did Li Dong earn from this?" Another colleague named Chen Wei, who passed behind Li Dong by the waterway, approached and asked a question. Before Li Dong could answer, he saw it on his own. "I'll go, 2876. "Amazing!" Chen Wei exclaimed. Li Dong's payment has been with him for a month. Although he has been with the company for almost a year and has already graduated, he can earn $3,000 to $4,000 in a month. This is also the average level of most senior traders in the company. Dongge really had bad luck today, Su Meng said enviously. He also wants to have some bad luck. No matter what luck he has, after all, he has become a regular employee. "I'll ask if you accept it," said Huang Yunzhao. "Fu, of course Fu, I also want to have some bad luck," Su Meng replied. Li Dong smiled faintly and said to himself that this was not luck, it was called strength. "Of course, if I were to take it seriously, I would have really had bad luck, but rather a big one. It's all reborn, can't it be a piece of luck?" Lu Xuehai was full of arrogance, but it was not easy to get into a fit, so he had to endure it. He also set a record today. "The loss is over 1,000. I did pretty well in the first 3 days of this month, earning 200 to 300 yuan a day and 700 to 800 yuan in 3 days, but today I lost all of this money. My heart is dripping blood." Feeling frustrated, Zhao Tao came out again. First, he came to Li Dong and with a slight smile, patted his shoulder and said, "Not bad, keep working hard. He has risk control software over there that can see everyone's transaction records." When Li Dong saw that he had earned nearly 3,000 yuan, he was really taken aback. However, in his opinion, Li Dong's move was purely a stroke of luck, so it is not worth much praise. With a simple encouragement, Zhao Tao walked over to Lu Xuehai's side, and his smile also restrained. End of this chapter.